Revenge with Marvella. The words hit me like a slap across the face at my own husband's promotion dinner. She married into the rank, his mother announced loudly to the table full of officers and their spouses. Marcus earned his position. She just wore the uniform for show. Everyone laughed. Not polite chuckles, real laughter. My husband's sister nodded enthusiastically. His father raised his glass in agreement. Marcus sat beside me, silent, his face carefully neutral as his family dismantled my entire military career in front of people I'd served with. I'd been a captain in the army. Intelligence officer. 7 years of service before I'd even met Marcus. I'd earned every promotion, every commendation, every difficult assignment. But his family had spent the 3 years since our wedding rewriting that history into something more palatable to them. The pretty wife who played soldier until she found a real officer to marry. I felt my face flush hot, then cold. My hands gripped my napkin under the table so hard my knuckles went white. But I smiled. I nodded. I stayed silent. Under the table, an envelope sat in my purse. Official. Urgent. Unopened for 3 days because I'd been too busy planning this dinner that was supposed to celebrate Marcus's achievement. This wasn't the first time. It was just the loudest, the most public. Marcus's family had been minimizing my service since the day we got engaged. At first, it was subtle comments. "Oh, how sweet that you tried the military too." Then it became more direct. "Marcus is the real soldier in this relationship." They never asked about my deployments. Never acknowledged my rank. When I mentioned my work, they'd change the subject to Marcus's career. When I wore my uniform to events, his mother would make jokes about couples' costumes. Marcus called it family dynamics. He told me to ignore it, to be the bigger person, to understand that his mother was just proud of him. He never defended me. Not once. He'd just squeeze my hand under the table and give me that look that meant, "Please don't make a scene." So I didn't. I swallowed every insult. I smiled through every dismissal. I made myself smaller and quieter at every family gathering. I'd learned that defending myself only made me look insecure, made them double down on their mockery. But tonight felt different. Tonight, something inside me cracked. Maybe it was the laughter. Maybe it was seeing Marcus's colleagues, people I'd served with, joining in. Maybe it was the envelope burning a hole in my purse. After dinner, as people mingled over coffee and dessert, I excused myself to the bathroom. I locked the door and pulled out the envelope with trembling hands. I'd known what it was when it arrived. The return address was unmistakable. Department of Defense. Office of the Secretary. I opened it carefully and read the letter for the first time. Major Olivia Torres, you are hereby requested to attend a classified briefing regarding your new assignment as Senior Intelligence Advisor to the Joint Chiefs of Staff. This position requires immediate security clearance verification and will commence in 30 days. Your presence at the Pentagon is mandatory for orientation on. I read it 3 times. Major. I'd been promoted. Not just promoted, selected for one of the most prestigious intelligence positions in the entire military. A position that reported directly to the highest levels of command. A position that Marcus, for all his family's pride, would never qualify for. I'd applied 6 months ago, never thinking I'd actually get it. The selection rate was less than 2%. I hadn't told Marcus because I didn't want to jinx it, and, honestly, I didn't think I'd need to tell him. Now I understood why the letter was marked urgent. They needed my answer within 72 hours. I looked at myself in the bathroom mirror and made a decision. I returned to the table with a smile plastered on my face. Marcus's sister was in the middle of another story about how hard it must be to be married to a real military leader when she looked at me with fake sympathy. Olivia, you must be so proud of Marcus. I mean, you tried the military thing, but he's really made it a career. Actually, I said, my voice calm and clear, I'm still active duty. His mother waved her hand dismissively. Oh, we know, dear. But it's different. Marcus has real responsibilities. Command positions. You did, what was it again? Paperwork. Intelligence analysis, I corrected, still smiling. For the past 7 years. Right, his father interjected. Support roles. Important in their own way, I suppose. He turned to one of Marcus's colleagues. But Marcus here is in line for battalion command. Real leadership. That's what the military needs. I watched Marcus. He was staring at his dessert plate, his jaw tight, but he said nothing. He never said anything. I pulled out my phone and took a photo of my dessert. Just a normal thing wives do at fancy dinners. Except I made sure the edge of the envelope was visible in the frame, just barely. The Department of Defense seal was clear if you knew what to look for. I posted it to my private social media. The one Marcus's family didn't follow. 2 days later, I got a call from Colonel Anderson, my former commanding officer. "Torres," she said, her voice warm, "congratulations on the promotion." "Major." That has a nice ring to it. "Thank you, ma'am," I replied, stepping out of the house so Marcus wouldn't overhear. "I'm still processing it. The Joint Chiefs don't pick just anyone for this position," she continued. "Your work on the Middle East threat assessments was exceptional. They specifically requested you by name." By name. I let that sink in. While Marcus's family was telling everyone I'd married into relevance, the Joint Chiefs of Staff were requesting me specifically for one of the most critical intelligence positions in the military. "I need to ask," Colonel Anderson said, her tone shifting slightly. "Your husband is Captain Marcus Torres, correct?" "Infantry." "Yes, ma'am." "And he's currently stationed at Fort Campbell?" "Yes, ma'am." There was a pause. "Olivia, you understand this position is at the Pentagon. It's not a remote assignment. You'd need to relocate to the DC area." "I understand." "Have you discussed this with your husband?" I looked back at the house where Marcus was inside, probably getting ready for another dinner with his family, another evening where my service would be the punchline to their jokes. "Not yet, ma'am. You have 24 hours left to accept. I suggest you have that conversation soon." That night, I told Marcus about the promotion. I expected surprise, maybe pride, perhaps even excitement. What I got was silence. He stared at the letter for a long moment, his expression unreadable. "Major," he finally said. That's great, Liv." "It's at the Pentagon," I continued. "I'd need to move to DC. The position starts in 4 weeks." His face changed. 4 weeks? That's not enough time. I'm up for battalion command soon. My career is here. We can't just pick up and move because you got some desk job in DC. Some desk job. I repeated, my voice carefully controlled. This is Senior Intelligence Advisor to the Joint Chiefs. It's not a desk job, Marcus. It's one of the most important intelligence positions in the military. And what am I supposed to do? He shot back. Give up my career? I'm about to make Major too. I'm on track for command. Your timing is terrible. My timing? I felt something cold settle in my chest. Marcus, I applied for this 6 months ago. Why didn't you tell me? Because I didn't think I'd get it. And, honestly, I didn't think it would matter to you either way. He flinched at that. What's that supposed to mean? It means you've spent 3 years letting your family treat me like I'm playing dress up. Like my service doesn't count. Like I'm just the wife who wore a uniform until I caught you. Marcus ran his hand through his hair, frustrated. They don't mean it like that. They're just proud of me. You're being too sensitive. Too sensitive, I repeated. Your mother told a room full of officers that I married into the rank. Your father called my work paperwork. Your sister suggested I'm riding your coattails. And you sat there. Silent. Like you always do. What was I supposed to do? Start a fight at my own promotion dinner. You were supposed to defend me. My voice rose for the first time. You were supposed to tell them I'm a decorated intelligence officer with 7 years of service. You were supposed to stand up for your wife. I can't control what my family says. But you can control what you don't say. And you choose silence. Every single time. He looked away. So, what are you going to do? Take this job and leave me here? The question hung in the air. I realized he wasn't asking if we could make it work. He wasn't offering to come with me or find a compromise. He was asking if I was willing to sacrifice this opportunity for him. Just like he assumed I would. Just like I always had. I don't know yet, I said. But I have 24 hours to decide. He nodded and left the room. The conversation was over. He'd made his position clear without saying it directly. My career should bend to his. I spent the next day thinking. Not just about the job, but about everything. I pulled out my service records, my commendations, my performance evaluations. 7 years of exemplary service. 2 deployments. 3 major intelligence operations that I'd led. Commendations from generals whose names Marcus's family would recognize if they'd ever bothered to ask. I'd been so focused on making my marriage work, on keeping peace with his family, that I'd forgotten who I was before I met him. I'd forgotten what I'd accomplished. I'd let their narrative become my reality. That night, I called Colonel Anderson. "Ma'am, I'm accepting the position." "Excellent. And your husband?" "He'll need to make his own decisions about his career," I said carefully. "But I'm not turning this down." "Understood. I'll process the paperwork." "Welcome to the team, Major Torres." When I hung up, Marcus was standing in the doorway. He'd heard. "So that's it? You're just leaving?" "I'm taking a promotion I earned," I said. "You're welcome to come with me." "Request a transfer. The Pentagon has plenty of positions." "I'm not following you around like a dependent spouse," he said, anger flashing in his eyes. "I have my own career." "So do I said quietly. "I've always had my own career. You just never noticed." The next 2 weeks were tense. Marcus barely spoke to me. His family, when they found out about the promotion, had mixed reactions. His mother called it selfish. His father suggested I was abandoning my marriage for ambition. His sister posted on social media about the importance of supporting your spouse's career, with a pointed comment about wives who put themselves first. None of them acknowledged the rank. None of them mentioned the position. None of them seemed to understand what I'd actually achieved. I started packing. Slowly at first, then with more purpose. I found my old uniform items, the ones I'd stopped wearing to family events because they made Marcus's family uncomfortable. My captain's bars. My intelligence insignia. My deployment patches. I also found something else in a box in the back of the closet. Photos from my commissioning ceremony. My parents beaming with pride. My grandfather, a retired colonel, pinning on my lieutenant's bars with tears in his eyes. He'd passed away 2 years ago, but I could still hear his words, "Never let anyone diminish what you've earned, Mija." Never. I'd broken that promise. I'd let Marcus's family diminish me for 3 years. I'd let Marcus stay silent while they did it. I'd diminished myself by allowing it to continue. I wasn't going to do that anymore. 1 week before I was scheduled to leave for DC, Marcus's family hosted another dinner. I almost didn't go, but Marcus asked me to, said it would look bad if I didn't show up. So I went, wearing my dress uniform. Full rank. Full ribbons. Everything. His mother's eyes narrowed when she saw me. "Olivia. How formal." "I'm leaving for DC in a week," I said pleasantly. I thought it was appropriate. "Yes, about that," his father interjected. "This whole Pentagon thing. Marcus tells us you're insisting on going, even though it puts his career in jeopardy." "My career," I corrected. "I'm going because of my career. Marcus is welcome to join me." "And what is he supposed to do in DC? Give up his command track?" "There are plenty of positions at the Pentagon. He could request a transfer." His mother laughed. "Olivia, dear, you can't seriously expect Marcus to follow you around. He's the real soldier in this family. His career is important." I felt that familiar cold anger settling in my chest. I am also a real soldier. I'm a decorated intelligence officer with 7 years of active service. I've earned every rank, every position, every assignment. "Oh, we know you wear the uniform," his sister said with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "But let's be honest. You married into this life. Marcus is the one with the real career." I opened my mouth to respond, but then something happened that changed everything. The door to the dining room opened, and one of Marcus's colleagues walked in. Lieutenant Colonel James Park, someone I'd worked with on a joint operation 2 years ago. Someone who actually knew what I did. "Sorry I'm late," he said, then stopped when he saw me. His eyes went to my uniform, my rank, my ribbons. His posture straightened immediately. "Major Torres," he said, and his tone was respectful, almost reverent. "I heard about your selection. Congratulations. That position is incredibly competitive." The room went quiet. Everyone was staring at Lieutenant Colonel Park, then at me. "Thank you, sir," I said. "Sir?" Marcus's mother laughed. Olivia, you don't need to be so formal. This is a family dinner. Lieutenant Colonel Park turned to her, confused. Ma'am, with all due respect, Major Torres outranks me now. And given her position with the Joint Chiefs, she'll be briefing generals. The formality is appropriate. The silence was deafening. I watched the realization slowly dawn on their faces. I wasn't just getting a job in DC. I was getting promoted above Marcus. Above his colleagues. Into a position none of them would likely ever reach. His father cleared his throat. I'm sure it's a nice opportunity, but it's not an opportunity, Lieutenant Colonel Park interrupted. It's one of the most prestigious intelligence positions in the military. Major Torres must be exceptionally qualified. They don't just hand out those assignments. Marcus's sister tried to recover. Well, I'm sure Marcus could get a position like that too if he wanted. He's on track for battalion command. Lieutenant Colonel Park looked at her with barely concealed confusion. Battalion command is an excellent achievement. But Major Torres's position is at a completely different level. She'll be advising the Joint Chiefs of Staff on national security matters. That's several levels above battalion command. I watched Marcus's face. He was staring at his plate, his jaw clenched so tight I could see the muscle twitching. He'd known what the position was, I'd told him. But hearing it explained to his family in terms they couldn't dismiss or minimize was different. His mother was struggling. Well, I still don't understand why she has to go now. Marcus's career is here. She should wait until it's more convenient. With respect, ma'am, Lieutenant Colonel Park said, his tone still polite but firm, you don't turn down a position like this. This is a once-in-a-career opportunity. Captain Torres should be incredibly proud of his wife. Everyone looked at Marcus. He looked up, finally, and said quietly, I am proud of her. It was the first time he'd defended me to his family. But it was too little, too late. I could hear it in his voice, he wasn't proud. He was embarrassed. Embarrassed that his wife had achieved something he couldn't. After dinner, Lieutenant Colonel Park pulled me aside. Major Torres, I wanted to ask, have you met General Hawthorne yet? No, sir. I'm scheduled to meet her during orientation. His eyes lit up. She's remarkable. She was actually asking about you last month when the selection committee was meeting. She specifically wanted you for this position. My heart skipped. She knows who I am? Major, everyone in senior intelligence knows who you are. Your work on the Syria operation was brilliant. The threat assessment you did prevented a major security breach. You saved lives. I felt tears prickling at my eyes. For 3 years, I'd been told my work didn't matter. That I was playing soldier. That I'd married into relevance. And here was someone telling me that generals knew my name, that my work had saved lives, that I'd earned this position through merit. Thank you, sir, I managed to say. He smiled. See you at the Pentagon, Major. After he left, I went to find Marcus. He was in the kitchen with his family, and they all stopped talking when I walked in. The expressions on their faces told me everything. They'd been talking about me. We need to go, I said to Marcus. He nodded and grabbed his keys. The drive home was silent. But this time, it was a different kind of silence. Heavy. Final. When we got home, Marcus finally spoke. My mother wants to know if you'd consider postponing. Just for 6 months, until I find out about battalion command. I stared at him. Marcus, I have to report in 4 days. I know. But maybe you could explain the situation. Ask for a delay. You don't delay a position with the Joint Chiefs of Staff. That's not how this works. Then what am I supposed to do? His voice rose. Just give up everything I've worked for? What about what I've worked for? I shot back. What about my 7 years of service? My deployments? My achievements? Why is it always my career that has to bend? Because I was here first. I've been building my career here for years. You can't just expect me to drop everything. I'm not expecting you to drop everything. I'm expecting you to be my partner. To support me the way I've supported you. To recognize that my career matters too. He shook his head. This is different. This is my family. My network. My future. You're asking me to give all that up. And you've been asking me to make myself smaller for 3 years. You've let your family disrespect me, dismiss my service, treat me like I'm nothing more than your accessory. And you've said nothing. You've done nothing. I can't control what my family says. But you can control what you say. You could have defended me. You could have corrected them. You could have told them the truth about my service. But you didn't. Because deep down, you agree with them. The words hung in the air between us. Marcus's face went pale. That's not fair. Isn't it? I felt tears streaming down my face now, but I didn't stop. You've never once bragged about my achievements to your family. Never mentioned my commendations. Never told them about my deployments or my work. You've let them believe I'm just the wife who played soldier. Because it's easier for you if I'm smaller. If I'm less threatening. If I'm just your supportive spouse and not your equal. That's not true, he said, but his voice lacked conviction. Then why didn't you defend me? Not once in 3 years, Marcus. Not one single time. He looked away. I didn't want to cause family drama. But you were okay with me suffering that drama? You were okay with me being the joke at every family dinner. You're being dramatic. They don't mean anything by it. They mean everything by it. I was shouting now. They've been systematically erasing my service, my accomplishments, my identity as a soldier. And you've helped them do it by staying silent. Marcus's jaw clenched. So, what do you want from me? I wanted you to be proud of me. I wanted you to stand beside me, not behind me. I wanted you to be my partner. I am your partner. No, I said quietly, the fight draining out of me. You're not. A partner would celebrate this promotion. A partner would find a way to make it work. A partner would defend me to his family. You've done none of those things. The next morning, I woke up to find Marcus already gone. He'd left a note saying he was going to talk to his commanding officer about the situation. I didn't know what that meant, but I didn't have time to worry about it. I had to finish packing and prepare for my move to DC. I was in the bedroom, folding uniforms, when my phone rang. It was an unknown number with a DC area code. Major Torres, a crisp voice said when I answered. This is General Patricia Hawthorne. I wanted to personally welcome you to the Joint Staff. I nearly dropped the phone. General Hawthorne. Thank you, ma'am. It's an honor. The honor is ours, Major. Your work precedes you. I specifically requested you for this position because of your analytical skills and your ability to see patterns others miss. We need that kind of thinking at this level. I felt a lump forming in my throat. I won't let you down, ma'am. I know you won't. I also understand you're in the middle of a complicated personal situation. I want you to know that we value your service and your sacrifice. If there's anything we can do to support your transition, please don't hesitate to ask. After I hung up, I sat on the edge of the bed, holding the phone. A 3-star general had called me personally, had specifically requested me, had recognized my work. While my husband's family was calling me selfish and ambitious, the Joint Chiefs of Staff were welcoming me as an essential asset. The contrast was so stark it almost made me laugh. Marcus came home that evening looking defeated. I talked to my CO, he said. There are positions at the Pentagon, but nothing in infantry. I'd have to switch branches or take a desk job. So take a desk job, I said. It's temporary. You can get back to infantry later. You don't understand. If I leave my unit now, I lose my place in line for battalion command. I'd have to start over. And if I turn down this position, I lose everything I've worked for. I'd never get an opportunity like this again. It's different for you, he said, and I felt my heart sink. How is it different, Marcus? Because this is what I've always wanted. Command. Leading soldiers. It's my dream. And working in intelligence is my dream. Serving at the highest levels of national security is my dream. Why does your dream matter more than mine? He didn't have an answer. Or maybe he did, and he just didn't want to say it out loud. Because I was the wife. Because I was supposed to support him. Because in his mind, and in his family's mind, my career was secondary to his. I can't go with you, he finally said. I'm sorry, but I can't. I nodded slowly. Then I'm going alone. Olivia, what does that mean for us? I looked at him, really looked at him, and saw a man who'd never truly seen me as an equal. Who'd never defended me. Who'd never put me first. I don't know, Marcus. But I know I'm getting on that plane to DC in 3 days. With or without you. The day before I left, Marcus's family staged what they called an intervention. They showed up at our house unannounced, all of them, ready to convince me to stay. His mother led the charge. Olivia, we're concerned about your marriage. You can't just abandon your husband for some job. It's not some job, I said, my voice calm. It's a senior intelligence position with the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Still, his father interjected, marriage is about sacrifice. Sometimes the wife has to put her career second. Why does the wife have to sacrifice? I asked. Why not the husband? Because Marcus has a real career path here. He's about to make battalion command. And I'm about to advise generals on national security matters. My career path is just as real as his. His sister jumped in. But you married into this family. You knew Marcus's career was important when you married him. And he knew mine was important when he married me, I shot back. Or at least, he should have. I was already a captain when we met. I'd already done a deployment. I had my own career before Marcus. I didn't marry into anything, I earned everything I have. His mother's face tightened. You're being selfish. What kind of wife puts her ambition before her husband's needs? What kind of husband puts his ego before his wife's achievements? I countered. What kind of family spends 3 years tearing down their daughter-in-law instead of supporting her? The room went silent. You've never supported me, I continued, my voice steady despite the emotion threatening to overwhelm me. You've never asked about my work. Never acknowledged my rank. Never respected my service. You've spent 3 years trying to convince everyone, including me, that I'm just Marcus's wife playing dress-up in a uniform. That's not fair, his mother protested. We've been nothing but welcoming to you. Welcoming. I laughed, a sharp sound. You told a room full of officers that I married into the rank. You've consistently called my work paperwork and desk jobs. You've made jokes about me wearing the uniform for show. You've never once asked me about my deployments, my assignments, or my achievements. How is any of that welcoming? His father stood up. Now you listen here. No, I interrupted, standing as well. You listen. I am a major in the United States Army. I earned that rank through 7 years of exemplary service. I've deployed twice to combat zones. I've led intelligence operations that saved American lives. I've been personally selected by a 3-star general to advise the Joint Chiefs of Staff on national security matters. And you've spent 3 years pretending none of that exists because it makes you uncomfortable that your son married someone who might actually be more accomplished than he is. The silence was absolute. Marcus stood in the corner, his face unreadable. I'm getting on a plane tomorrow, I said quietly. I'm taking the position I earned. If Marcus wants to come with me, I'll welcome him. If not, then I guess we'll figure out what that means for our marriage. But I am done making myself smaller for this family. They left shortly after that, his mother's parting words being that I'd regret choosing my career over my family. Marcus didn't say anything as they filed out. He just stood there, staring at the floor. That night, we slept in separate rooms. I spent the hours before dawn packing the last of my things, double-checking my orders, preparing for the life I was about to start in D.C. At 5 a.m., my phone buzzed with an email. It was from Colonel Anderson, with an attachment. Thought you should see this before you arrive. Your reputation precedes you. Anderson. I opened the attachment. It was a memo from General Hawthorne to the Joint Staff, announcing my arrival. But what caught my eye was the list of my accomplishments, every operation I'd worked on, every commendation I'd received, every achievement from the past 7 years. It was all there, in official military language, sent to some of the highest-ranking officers in the United States military. And at the bottom, a note, Major Torres brings exceptional analytical capabilities and proven leadership to our team. She is one of the finest intelligence officers of her generation. I read it 3 times, tears streaming down my face. This is what I'd needed. Not from Marcus's family. Not even from Marcus. From myself. I needed to remember that I was good at what I did. That I'd earned every opportunity through merit and hard work. That I was someone worth respecting. The morning I left, Marcus drove me to the airport. We didn't talk much during the drive. What was there to say that hadn't already been said? At the departure gate, he finally spoke. I do love you, Liv. I know, I said. But love isn't enough when there's no respect. I respect you. You've never shown it. Not to me, and definitely not to your family. You've let them disrespect me for 3 years, Marcus. You've stayed silent while they tore me down. That's not respect. That's cowardice. He flinched. That's harsh. It's honest. I picked up my carry-on bag. I needed a partner who would stand beside me, who would celebrate my successes instead of feeling threatened by them. You couldn't be that person. I'm sorry, he said, and he actually looked like he meant it. I know. But sorry doesn't change 3 years of silence. Sorry doesn't change the fact that you chose your family's comfort over my dignity. Sorry doesn't change the fact that when it came down to it, you couldn't see me as your equal. So this is it? We're over. I thought about it. Really thought about it. I don't know. But I know I'm getting on this plane. I know I'm taking this position. And I know I deserve better than what you've given me. I walked through security without looking back. My first week at the Pentagon was overwhelming in the best possible way. The pace was intense, the work was challenging, and for the first time in 3 years, I felt like myself again. I felt seen, respected, valued for my skills and my mind, not judged for my ambition. General Hawthorne was everything I'd hoped for: brilliant, direct, and fiercely supportive of her team. In our first one-on-one meeting, she said something that stuck with me. Major Torres, you're here because you're the best. Don't ever let anyone make you forget that. I wanted to tell her about Marcus, about his family, about how I'd spent years letting them make me forget exactly that. But I just nodded and said, yes, ma'am. The work itself was fascinating. I was briefing generals, analyzing threats, contributing to strategies that would shape national security policy. It was exactly what I'd trained for, exactly what I was good at. And people noticed. In my second week, I was asked to brief the Secretary of Defense on an emerging threat situation. I spent days preparing, analyzing data, building my presentation. When the day came, I walked into that briefing room in my dress uniform, full ribbons, major's rank clearly visible. I delivered my analysis with confidence. The secretary asked tough questions. I had answers. By the end, he was nodding, clearly impressed. Excellent work, Major Torres, he said. General Hawthorne was right about you. 3 weeks into my new position, I got a call from Marcus. Liv, I need to tell you something. What is it? I requested a transfer. To the Pentagon. I'm coming to DC. I felt a complex mix of emotions. Relief. Anger. Suspicion. What changed your mind? I talked to Lieutenant Colonel Park. He explained what your position actually means. What you're actually doing. And I realized I've been an idiot. Marcus. No, let me finish. I've been so focused on my own career, my own path, that I didn't see what you were accomplishing. I let my family diminish you because it was easier than standing up to them. I let my own insecurity about your success poison our marriage. And I'm sorry. I'm really, truly sorry. I didn't know what to say. Part of me wanted to forgive him, to tell him to come to DC and we'd start over. But another part, the part that had spent 3 years being made small, being dismissed, being disrespected, couldn't quite accept it. I appreciate the apology, I said carefully. But I need you to understand something. It's not just about you coming to DC. It's about whether you can actually see me as your equal. Whether you can defend me to your family. Whether you can celebrate my success instead of feeling threatened by it. I can, he said quickly. I will. I want to try, Liv. I want to be the partner you deserved all along. That's going to take time. And proof. Not just words. I understand. I'll prove it. For weeks into my new position, there was a formal reception at the Pentagon. A ceremony to welcome new senior staff and recognize recent achievements. I was required to attend, and I'd mentioned it to Marcus, who was now in DC starting his new position. Can I come with you? He asked. As your spouse. I hesitated. Marcus, your family is going to find out eventually. About my rank, about my position. This reception will probably be posted on official channels. Are you ready for that conversation? I already had it, he said. I told them everything. About your promotion, about your position, about what you actually do. They weren't happy. I'm sure they weren't. My mother said I was making a mistake coming to DC. My father said I was ruining my career for you. My sister posted something on social media about men who let their wives emasculate them. I felt anger rising in my chest. And what did you say? I told them that you're one of the finest intelligence officers in the military. That you earned your position through merit and hard work. That I should have defended you years ago. And that if they can't respect my wife, they can't be part of my life. I felt something crack in my chest. Not breaking, softening. You said that. I should have said it 3 years ago. I'm saying it now. I took a deep breath. Okay, you can come to the reception. But Marcus, this is my night. My achievement. If your presence there is going to overshadow that or create drama, I'd rather you didn't come. I'll be there to support you. Nothing else. I promise. The reception was held in one of the Pentagon's formal halls. Officers in dress uniforms filled the space, flags hanging from the walls, everything polished and official. I arrived early, Marcus beside me in his dress uniform. He looked nervous. You okay? I asked. I've never been to something like this at this level, he admitted. I'm out of my depth. Just follow my lead. We mingled, and I introduced Marcus to colleagues. He was polite, respectful, and notably quiet, letting me take the lead in conversations. It was different from family gatherings where he dominated the attention. Here, he seemed to understand that this was my world, not his. Then General Hawthorne arrived. The room shifted, people straightening, conversations pausing. She made her way through the crowd, greeting people until she reached me. I stood at attention. General Hawthorne, ma'am. She smiled warmly. Major Torres. I'm glad you could make it. Then her eyes shifted to Marcus. And you must be Captain Torres. I've heard a lot about you. Marcus looked surprised. You have, ma'am. Your wife speaks highly of you. She turned back to me. Major, I have someone I'd like you to meet. She led us across the room to where a small group of high-ranking officers stood. Among them was a 4-star general, General William Bradley, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. My heart pounded. This was the highest-ranking military officer in the country. General Hawthorne made the introduction. General Bradley, this is Major Olivia Torres, our new senior intelligence advisor. General Bradley extended his hand. Major Torres. I've read your threat assessments. Exceptional work. We're fortunate to have you on the team. Thank you, sir. It's an honor to serve. He nodded, then noticed Marcus. And you are? Captain Marcus Torres, sir. Infantry. I'm Major Torres's husband. There was a pause. Then General Bradley did something that changed everything. He turned to me and saluted. Not Marcus. Me. Major, he said formally, his salute crisp and proper. I returned the salute, my hand trembling slightly. Behind me, I heard a camera click. Someone from the military press was documenting the event. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff was saluting me first, acknowledging my superior rank, my position, my authority. Then he extended his hand to Marcus. Captain, your wife is an asset to this command. You should be very proud. I am, sir, Marcus said, his voice quiet but firm. Very proud. As General Bradley moved on to greet others, I caught Marcus's expression. He wasn't embarrassed or threatened. He looked odd. And maybe, for the first time, he truly understood what I'd achieved. The photograph of that moment, General Bradley saluting me, with Marcus standing respectfully beside me, would be posted to official military social media channels the next day. It would be seen by thousands of service members, including Marcus's family. They said I married into the rank. Until the commanding officer saluted first. And suddenly, everyone knew exactly who had earned what.